All right, before going on, I will do a deep code review and we'll do a quick walkthrough of the UI. And if there were any problems, kind of like bad practices, bad quality of code, and so on, we'll pinpoint it and then give it to Claude Code to generate the taskmaster tasks with low priority. Put it at the end of the task list, but at least we'll get a chance to do a code review. This part of the course is not supposed to be a part of a training, so I assume that you are non-technical, you're not a developer, so it's okay if you don't understand this particular lecture, you can ignore it. The only reason I want to do this lecture is because I want to emphasize on the quality of these LLMs, the code generators, especially Claude Code and Sonnet in this case. Um, in the previous projects, I have done this code review and the quality was very, very good. And now we'll see how the quality emerges. So let's go and start. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to spin off the project and we will do a quick little review of the entire UI, and then we will go to the code base. UI bugs, I'm not sure if I should really worry about right now because we can do that later on. If it's a blocker, yes, but if it's like a small little font change or a pixel issue, that we can do that later. Right now, I'm going to stay mostly focused on the code quality itself. So here is the entire feature. I checked the features, it is working fine, the filters and everything works fine. What I really like about is the details that the LLM taught about when it started creating. And I believe this was all because of that PRD that we put in place. For example, this little check mark on the profile for all the appointment booked features. Uh, if I move on Ray here, Ray also gets an appointment booked check mark. For example, showing these little icons that there's one phone call, two email communications, one comment. This was nowhere in my prompt. It is the LLM um, creativity kind of thinking about that particular thing. For example, this particular notes section or this remarks section was totally not in my plan. It is also something that is really nicely done by the LLM itself. Obviously, the priority itself was a totally LLM creativity. And if we go inside here, you can see that the UI for the entire calls and everything is done. There are small, as I mentioned earlier, there are small UI bugs like here it goes in two lines. Maybe I don't want it to be as a tab. I want to do it as a long scroll. But here is the way the phone transcript call will look like eventually once we replace um, the mock data to the actual um, features that we have. Like these screens will show actual data coming from Supabase as soon as we implement that feature. This is the email. To this level, I'm not sure in this course we can cover to kind of like track all the open date and click date and reply date and so on. But at least the UI was done really nicely done, like here the reply and so on. And then the evaluations of the, again, small UI bugs, a white color on the white background. But the way the evaluations will work is that the LLM will think and give a score to that qualified lead based on certain reasons, and I want to show them on this page. So everything is done perfectly nicely done. And the comments is right now mocked, so I kind of like want to have like a comments box here, and I believe that's gonna come anyways. If we go here, to the taskmaster list. The next step is the common system. That's the next one that we are going to do. But I just want to quickly show all those UI features that is really nicely done. Now let's go and do a little bit of a code review and see what is where and how things are emerging. So one thing I discovered during the execution of this is that it created this folder. Um, I'm not sure why did it not put this entire files, like all the folders and so on, inside the root folder. I would have done it that way so that I don't have like one folder inside, which is a project. It's a little bit weird, but I don't know. Maybe there is a good reason behind that because Claude Code knows way more um, than me. So I believe Claude Code was much better in that since putting it inside that folder. Now, if I quickly do a little bit of a code review, so the package JSON, I don't see any problems here right now. No mixing of the div dependencies or dependencies. Um, we already checked this one. Maybe there is an hallucination on this particular one based on its version. Let's quickly check that one. So I'm going to go to npm and then check this particular package and see which version is this. 6.3. That's the latest version. So I saw that 6.3.1. So 6.3.1 is installed. So this is also correct. The actual implementation of this, I mentioned that to use Eero UI, I am looking Eero UI icons, but I am not sure. We'll see it in the actual component implementations in just a minute. So now what we have here is all the code, basically. If I, what I want to do here is search for the term any, like this, to see how much of TypeScript did it implement and how much did it ignore. Like for example, here it used any, so it used like 51 places any. This is maybe something like 46 places. No, this is not. What I want to see is like how many times it used any as a data type any. These places, only few places. That's good. That's not bad. So it's kind of like typing the interfaces using TypeScript as much as possible. So that's the main route. I'm seeing that it didn't use the Eero UI library. So eeroui.com, this is the library that it should be using. It didn't use that. Maybe this is because Eero UI used to be called Next UI, and now they are changed to Eero UI. So Next UI was previously Next UI, Eero UI previously Next UI, and I believe that LLM's cutoff date still remembers that old name, so that could be just one small prompt engineering done wrong. Therefore, it didn't use Eero UI so much. I can see that it used this Eero UI icon, but not actually the Eero UI components. For example, here it used div, but what I wanted to do is like if it would have used card component from Eero UI, kind of like the code would have looked something like this. Card and then imported from Eero UI, something like that. Other than that, the model, this is a component. What I like, well, this is kind of like the framework, but still using that nicely. So it's using local state. That's fine. It's just a model. All right, so here we see that it's doing some sort of regular expression for validating the email address. Again, it's opinionated whether it is a good way or a bad way, but I don't. I would have done it differently. So this part, I would use a kind of like a validator package instead of like writing regular expression myself by hand. So let's go back to some other random components here. There it's never used, so again, it's not the end of the world, and also these linter messages can be channeled back to Claude Code, and then Claude Code can take care of that in the execution. Exactly how, I don't know it yet, but I think you can configure Claude Code to run all the linters. Perhaps there is already a lint here. There is already a lint. So if we execute npm run lint inside Samantha, then all these warnings can be resolved by Claude Code, so it can be automated. Um, Other than that, let's quickly go through the rest of the components. I can see that it's using the team colors, not art code colors. That's nice. Um, yeah, overall, I would say it's a 8 out of 10 code base quality off the shelf. Um, this form handling is can be done a little bit better, but again, since the LLMs are trained based on the vector similarity search, so it literally picked the most common data, or the data for form validation that is a lot available. I would have done it differently, the form validation, but it's good for a small project. Again, here is another thing that I would have done it differently. I would use Moment.js or something. Moment is old, but DataFinesse or something latest to do um, my time management, like these labels showing how long ago was this thing done. Yeah, never thought that it would be nice. Like overall, like the components are not so big. This one is a little bit big. 500 lines, detail drawer. Oh, I see the detail drawer is big. So I would split this component in smaller components so that it's maintainable. Yeah, overall it was not bad. The mock data is here. All of the mock data is sitting in one JSON file. It generated it very well done. The types are there. Wonderful. So to be honest, from 10, I would say 8 or 8.5 out of 10. But obviously you can prompt it again. This was like literally one shot. I let the model run and then accept all of them without doing any code reviews. But if you're a programmer and you know how to read code, and then you, before committing it to GitHub, you can do a code review, and then you can pinpoint these little things to the LLM, and then the LLM can fix it before you actually push it to Git. The quality of this kind of a code is production ready. With that, let's go to the next features and keep implementing more features. See ya.